So I'm here with Merstham boss Frank Wilson, assistant manager Barry Hayles. Disappointing 3-1 defeat to Horsham. Horsham flying high at the moment, but we were, I have to say, fairly poor in the first half. Would you say that's a fair reflection?
I'll let you start.
Yeah, I thought the ref gifted them the first goal and then we gifted them the second goal, so you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle against a decent side and that one a decent run. But you can't give teams head starts and that, and we've done that today, and then we didn't really get going in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to talk about that first goal. 95 times out of 100, a referee will give a free kick there, and we got the other one. But at the same time, we didn't really play in the first half, did we? After that goal?
No, we didn't. But if we're going to talk about the incident, then we might as well talk about it in terms of exactly what we thought we saw. The useful thing today is that they filmed the games, so I guess we've got to be relatively careful in our assumptions. And if what we thought we saw turns out to be different, then we'll of course, we can go back on this interview and we can, amongst ourselves, call it differently. But at the time, it looked like a really obvious foul on Toby, and like any incident or situation where you think something's gone against you or you think differently to an official, I thought today was a more aggravating incident because, like you've just said there, it looked like a pretty physical assault on Toby, and it's the sort of thing that, like you've mentioned, and like we all know from being in football, that referees are told to look for in terms of their decision-making process. You're an official, whether you're a referee or a linesman, and this isn't us or me trying to think I'm telling them how to do their job. This is what we know of their job to be. Looking at goalkeepers and looking at situations, it was such an obvious and blatant foul. I mean, it aggravated everybody, and it was very difficult to overcome for the next 20 minutes. In hindsight, look, it wasn't the reason why we lost the game the way that we did today. But let's just say it as we know it. If that didn't happen, then there could have been a slightly different outcome. Yeah.
I mean, that said, obviously a disappointing goal to concede, and as you said, we would think it should be a free kick, but we never really got going in the first half at all, did we, in terms of our passing, our possession, just giving the ball away in some very strange places on the pitch.
That's been our bugbear. I'm not blaming the midfielders, but we have looked at that several times. We were going to change the shape of the team, and we probably, hindsight, we probably should have done like you were saying, Frank. But we stuck with the same shape and the same players and that, and we felt let down in the first 20 minutes.
I think where we've got to now as a team, we've got to a real transparent state. We've got to a place like what Baz has just said there. We were contemplating in the build up to today's game altering what we have been doing, and not off the cuff, not because we think Horsham do something specific and we needed to combat that. It's been the process of having watched the team, coached the team, worked with the team, and seeing what's been fairly consistent, and then what hasn't worked well enough. What today has shown us, which recent games have shown us, was that we need to have we just need to have a bit of a stop check at the minute. What we need to do is really use next week to assess and evaluate what we're going to be looking to do going forwards in terms of how we play, what we do, what's effective, people's place in the team, everything to do with how we pick a team and how we manage the team. I think it's honest and it's transparent. I think that certain people have found it very difficult lately, and I think that we've given people a very fair crack of the whip in terms of staying in the team, keeping their shirt, and us hoping to get some momentum and consistency, which we've had in parts, but recently we haven't had that. And we're at that critical point now where we have to stop and have a look at what's not been working, and we have to affect that and make the changes that we need to.
I suppose looking at the positives, we dug ourselves a hole 2-0 down at the break. We came out with a much more positive attitude in the second half. Seemed to be working harder, just playing better football all over the pitch. And on another day, 2-1 could have become 2-2.
I don't think we'd have been disappointed, and we said at half time, if we'd have lost the game 2-1. I don't want to sound flippant by saying that. We're disappointed at losing games of football, but we said it. We challenged the team at half time and said that first goal, we can all feel aggrieved by. second goal, whether it was a consequence of our mood because we felt so hard done by that, but we conceded a second goal. The challenge was to change our attitude and to stop moping and feeling sorry for ourselves for what the first half looked like. And we said that we won't make a change in the second half if we can see people's attitude change and people be positive and show a real fight and spirit to get something back in the game. And if that would have meant losing narrowly by 2-1, then we would have been content with that. And maybe the evaluation point tonight and going forwards might be slightly different. It didn't pan out that way. For a lot of people it did. And yeah, it was a much more spirited second half and we got ourselves back in the game with the goal.
Yeah.
And then even with the changes that we made in the last 15 minutes, we kept that momentum. But mistakes and poor performances in a few of us let us down. And they're the evaluation points. They're the things that we need to now address and we need to look at in terms of how we plan the team going forwards.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you about the substitution of John near the end there. I must admit, I was a little bit surprised. What was your thinking in taking John?
Listen, we understand it. We know that players that have been goal scorers in the team and goals being things that we need are important. I think that every fan or every person that's part of a football team will have their different opinions on why certain things are the way they are. It was purely systematic. It was down to putting Bertie on as a centre forward and us thinking that if we got something out of it by doing that and being more direct, which we've done already, then we had to try and find the balance in other situations and positions. Serge had already come on as a forward, so it was really a case of making not a sacrifice, but just a change to the team to try and give that incentive up front as much power as we could. Corey's top goal scorer. It could have been Corey coming off today in terms of numerically and what it was that we were looking to do structurally to make the change. We went to a back three. So we changed the system there to aid it going forwards, and we kept both Troy and Jude in wing-back positions because it was the forward pass and the ability to play the forward pass that we wanted to be the main point of the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it certainly wasn't anything to do with John in terms of performance. It was purely a case of how we had to structure the team.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Hard one today, but yeah, we'll move on.